Hi, welcome back to another edition of that Millwall podcast. This is episode 55. The reason we say what episode number is that it makes my co-host Omar very, very happy. And it's always good to keep your partner in crime happy. So without further ado, we will bring him in. It is the one and only Omar. How you doing, fella?
Not too bad, Mickey, mate. I'm very good. At least we didn't lose on the weekend, so all's well and as well.
You recovered?
Look forward to just about. No, I didn't go too crazy on Saturday night, but yeah, I mean, I survived Luton. It's a shithole of a place, shithole of an area. Everyone knows this already, but survived it and cool. For the first time I've been there, because I couldn't get there before when we had them on a Tuesday and stuff. But bloody hell, what a shithole! What a dive!
No, definitely. We'll come back to that in a minute. So, without further ado, we'll invite our guest on for this week's episode. Kai might be coming back on in a minute. He was here, and something's come up, and he's had to run off and sort, but he might be back. But for now, our guest, what was due for this evening, he's not a stand-in or anything, but it is the one and only Dan Marsh. How you doing, fella? You all right?
Yeah, all good. Cheers, mate. Thanks. Yeah, you'll have to make do with me, I'm afraid, with Kai.
Well, it was going to be four of us tonight, but yeah, I don't know what's happened with Kai. He was here, and then he's just dropped out or gone. I don't know. He'll be back in a minute, hopefully. So we might throw some of you in here. Come on in a minute, but yeah. So we're going to talk about our draw, our league given away, our whichever way you want to look at it. It was a draw. And I suppose realistically a draw was what we needed, but we will be back in part one where we'll be talking everything to do with that shithole they call Luton after this. Welcome back. Omar has survived the trip to the biggest shithole in the planet called Luton. I've always wondered really about people who live there, whether or not they get compensation for having a football pitch in your back garden. Because it is a bit of a strange one, isn't it? I know they are looking at moving shortly as well in there, I think, but it's always a bit of a strange one. There was various pictures posted over social media over the weekend of where you walk over the little gantry into the estate and you've got people's back gardens either side of you. It's definitely a strange one there, isn't it? How did you find it then?
Bizarre as anything, to be honest, mate. You pull into Luton Station, you've got a little bit of a kind of town centre in front of you. You come out the station, like, okay, looks all right. And then you quickly realise once you leave that little segment of town, it's just, I can't describe it. It is a shithole. It really is. It's very residential, but it is like the scene of it. It's like West Ham on steroids, the old Upton Park. Like, it is crazy different and different civilization, I have to say. Go on, bring Kai in, seeing as you just come back in anyway. But, Luton is an interesting place. I have to say that for sure. You walk in, obviously, you've got the turnstiles right into the away end in between people's houses. Good to see a couple of people change their doors since last time we were all there, because I heard a bit of the aggro they got in the past times there. But, yeah, obviously, made my way into there and witnessed a 2-2 draw. I think it's disappointing because obviously we went ahead twice in the game, and I was quite apprehensive going into it. I was quite quietly hoping that we'd turn up, and a lot of the kind of talk pre-game are the players going to be up for it, or is the tactics going to be right going into it? But fair play to the manager. He went with Fabian Bradshaw up top, tried to give him a game, and I thought for the first half we might have just edged it. Second half, obviously, Luton trying to get back into the game, put us under a bit of pressure. Their first goal just before stroke half time was a touch of class, nice, neat one-touch finishing, and obviously bagged it away quite nicely. Fred Bayo, who we obviously spoke about the last show, has kind of been a handful up top. But it's just refreshing to see, I suppose, Bradshaw and Afobe rekindling their goal scoring form. And yeah, I mean, like I said, it was unfortunate not to kind of see it out at the end. Cooper getting his second own goal of the season. And yeah, it's disappointing really, but at least we didn't lose it. I think we're still 4 points off the playoffs. We've got to be looking up at this point of the stage of the season and just kind of give it a go between now and the last 7 games of the season, I suppose, mate.
No, I totally agree with you. Welcome back, Kai. You okay?
No, I feel like an absolute mug now because it's the Yahoo's down, not just my email.
So we didn't tell anyone why you weren't here. We just said you were here and then you disappeared. Now you've just mugged yourself off by telling everyone live that you disappeared because of this. So, yeah, well, let's forget all of that and we'll go back and go, And our fourth guest tonight is the one and only Kai Bennett, journalist, football guru extraordinaire, but can't manage his own email account. How you doing, Kai?
I'm good, thank you, Matt. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. How did you deal with the shithole? What was Luton then?
Oh, it's a weird place, that. Strange place. Very strange.
So
place.
strange. So I don't know, I tried to sum it up, Kai, before when you was gone there, but it's just so weird, isn't it? I said it's like the old East Street kind of is it Green Street, sorry, where West Ham used to be in Upton Park. Like, it's a weird setup, isn't it? And just like the area surrounding it, it's just so bizarre, mate.
Yeah, we took half an hour when we got there trying to find the toilets because they're tucked away in this little bit. Alex telling me, oh, it's this way. I'm like, no, it's not. He's been there twice before as well, which was the best bit. So he forgotten where the toilets were. And then we finally get up there and they've put us basically next to like all these other, well, obviously just as always, but there's no seat in between you. So it was like really snug. So we said, we're not sitting there. We're going to go and sit in the director's bit. So we went and sat in the overflow director's bit, then got told that we were in the wrong seats and directors want to sit there. In the end, they let us sit there. It's an absolute nightmare.
Typical Millwall, mate. We sit where we want to sit, but yeah. So
bunch of prima donnas, by the way. Look at that. Yeah. Not grateful with what you get given for your free ticket to the press box, but it is what it is.
For those of you who don't know, maybe Kai should run his own thread with this. But Kai does a bit of a moose, what the moose does, and shares with us his food from the press box. I must say, yesterday's Kai was very impressed with the burger and chips he got at Wembley yesterday when he was watching Sutton. But what was the food like for you at Luton then, Kai?
Sausage rolls.
Shocking.
I know. I ate most of them as well.
No free drinks?
I had a Bovril.
Oh, okay. So, 2-2 Jordan, Kai. What's your taking on it?
Gutted we didn't win. I think that's the ultimate, the overriding feeling. Because obviously when you leave twice and you get pegged back twice, it's really frustrating, especially the second one. So you can kind of accept the first one because, got 1-0 up with 20 minutes on the clock and, there's plenty of time left. But the second one with 5 or 7 minutes to go, we should be seeing that out. Gary kept saying it after, but it was frustration. But then again, I would have taken a point out before the game. And it was a good game as well. It was entertaining. So I don't have that many complaints apart from maybe we should have probably sort it out a bit better. The goal they did score with 2 minutes to go was, had a touch of fortune about it. Keeper had no idea that came off his shoulder until it hit the back of the net. So yeah, it was a bit lucky, but we keep going.
Let's come back to that. Let's hit on Dan, before we come back into this to examine the game in a bit more detail. Your overall thoughts of the game. I think we didn't lose it, so it's carry on, next one ahead. Yeah,
I think it was a 6-pointer, wasn't it? It wasn't a must-win game. It was a game we couldn't really afford to lose rather than a must-win game, I think. At the same time, any game where you've got 5-6 minutes to see out and you're in the lead, I think there's got to be an air of disappointment there to get yourself into that position, taking the lead not once but twice. But if you'd have offered me a draw beforehand, I wouldn't have said no. I think the key thing, although I was gutted at the final whistle on Saturday, it is easy to forget not just our running. Our running is kind, but a lot of the teams around us have to play each other. So one way or another, teams around us will drop points, even though there are teams, slightly ahead of us with games in hand, like Forest and stuff like that. Still all to play for, but we've got to back it up this week in the 2 games this week.
Definitely. Just by cutting there, Mickey. Sorry, I think the before the game and when we done the roundtables last week, I feel like we all kind of concluded that we need to worry about. Hopefully, we'll pick up a win or 2 on the road, but we've got a big week ahead of us now with 2 massive home games where we've got an outside chance of it. Looking back into it at the back end of the international break, thinking 8 games to go, it's not really in our hands. But if we can turn up and win a few. The crux of it is there's still 4 big home games. And if we get 12 points from them, I'm not saying we will, but then we'll be on 70 points. And you're looking at 3 games left away from home where if you get 1 win in them, you've got to 73 points, which a lot of people think could and should be enough to get into that top 6 contention. So the onus is on the team this week, I think. 2 big home games coming up. see what you can do, I suppose. Swansea and Barnsley, see what we can offer ourselves and just try and grab the game by the scruff of the horns and try and win them.
Yeah, I mean, we're playing now with all the teams below us, apart from obviously the last game, which will be Bournemouth, what sits above us. So, like Dan said a minute ago, it's definitely, we are definitely in charge of our own destiny now. If we can beat the teams below us and the teams above who are playing each other fuck it up, then hey ho, we're going to it. But I think on the game, I think we played okay. 25 minutes, obviously. Brad scores, gets back onto the team sheet, and fucking superb. 8 minutes later, they score, and then it does seem to settle down a bit, doesn't it? We seem to look as if it was going to possibly be a draw for the rest of the game. I mean, your thoughts on the team performance, watching it live?
I was quite content about it in the first half in particular. I thought Luton are a side that I think, especially at home, get the games going quick and try to move the ball around and try and obviously stretch oppositions and stretch the teams around that they're playing. I thought we handled it really well at the early doors, and I think it wasn't necessarily like I described it as hoping to be a humding of a game. There was 4 goals in the game. It was eventful, but I thought we was managing the expectations at least early doors, and then obviously Bradshaw takes that finish, and I mean you name dropped him there, Mickey, but like I think credit to the man. It's like he's come straight back into the team and just literally left off from where he started, basically from that little stretch before his injury. And I think there is credit where it's due there, because it was a bit of a layoff, a bit of an injury as well. Obviously, I think it was his knee ligaments, and to kind of come back in and just kind of carry on where he left off, I think a lot has to be said about that. I feel like
100%. Also, it was his 100th goal of his career as well, wasn't it, on Saturday? So that was a good thing for him. But I mean, the way he took the shot, it was outstretched and he just stuck it home. It was a cracking shot for him. I mean, I don't mind Dan or Kai, whichever one wants to come in. I mean, your views on his goal?
Go on, Dan, you go first, mate.
Yeah, it was a cracker. It's not the goal you typically associate him with. Like you said, he's kind of that fox in the box, kind of comes alive in the penalty area and the 6-yard box. But, when he puts him away like that, maybe he should try it a bit more often. I thought, to be fair, until Luton ruined it with their scruffy equaliser, I thought all the goals were cracking goals. Like Omar said a minute ago, Luton's first goal was really, really good. Bradshaw's strike was a really good strike, and I thought our second goal was a really slick move and a really good finish, to be fair, from Afobe.
Yeah, no, I think it was a really good finish by Afobe, but I think their goal was quite sloppy, to be fair. I think we gave him that goal. I think we just gave him too much space. When we gave him enough space for him to turn on that ball, you knew.
The first goal,
yeah.
It was quick moving, to be fair to them. I think Rowett moaned, maybe Kai backs up obviously because he saw the post-match, but I think Rowett moaned about a potential foul on Bradshaw, which I can't recall really seeing at the time. But I think what they've done well there, mate, is just when you give them a chance, and this is what we did, probably the only time in the game we really let them do it, to play around us and move the ball quick. Like I said, like they just made it look so easy, and the finish was top draw. Like,
I'm not saying I'm not saying the finish weren't good. It was, but I just think we gave him a little bit too much room, and a player of that capability, you don't really want to be giving him space, do you? That's the truth of the matter. But I mean, yeah, Kai, I mean, your views on that. I mean, you interviewed them afterwards, or you interviewed Gary afterwards. I mean, was there a call for a foul in the box?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think watching it back, it was quite a clear foul. Refs missed it, which to be fair, the referee missed quite a lot on Saturday from both sides. He let the game flow quite a lot, which was just fair. But then there's moments like that, and you're like, if he gives that, we're still 1-0 up potentially at half time. And, we could potentially double our lead in the second half. So it was a frustrating one, but obviously they had missed a good chance prior to that. I think they blazed one straight into the away end or on the roof, didn't they? It was quite a good chance. So it felt like it was
the ball I was on about.
Yeah, it was definitely coming, that equaliser. But if we'd have prolonged it a bit more and frustrated their crowd, then potentially we might have carried on, got a win. But no, I think there was a foul. Gary thought it was a foul as well. But then, there's no point dwelling on the foul. We needed to, probably mark our man better than we did.
Do you think the referees were that bad and the linesmen were that bad on Saturday, or do you think that he done well to just let it carry forward?
I think there's a bit of both, isn't there? I think if the referee keeps blowing it up all the time, the game becomes sort of scrappy and a bit of a non-event. But if you let the game flow, you can see the quality, the physicality. Because at the end of the day, it was a physical game. Both sides are a physical team, so he needed to let it go, somewhat of most of the time. But then when there is a foul that maybe he should be given, because obviously when Bradshaw gets fouled, he gets fouled on the halfway line. So the referee probably thinks, "Wow, it's fine. Let's just let it carry on. Let's let it flow." But then obviously he wouldn't predict that they'd score from that position. They probably shouldn't have scored from there, from where they won the ball. But they did, and it cost us the lead to start with. But I didn't really have too many complaints about the referee, just apart from maybe I could see why he let it flow. I think he did a good job of that, but there were some moments where he could have pulled it up when maybe there was. I mean, the foul that led to their second goal was needless, wasn't it? Because he kicked it straight off for a goal kick, so that was needless, that foul. But yeah, I guess that's another point, isn't it?
Didn't our second goal come from the back of he played advantage and then we scored there was a foul on us and he played advantage and then we suddenly there was a foul on them, he played advantage and then we got the ball off him and then obviously got it through and Phoebe stuck it in the back of the net as well. So I think the game measured out to a degree. I don't think there was any standout awful decisions as such. I think it was, there was a fair amount of equaling out left, right and centre. But, I mean, first half, anything what stands out to you first half, Omar, before we move on to the second one? So far, I've got both goal scorers, so I'm not doing too bad, am I? And I picked the starting 11 as well, so I'm not doing too bad.
What did you say the score was going to be, just so I can recall?
Well, at first I said it was going to be 1-1, and then when you asked me for players, I said that if Bradshaw plays here, score. And then I said Aphobia would score. And then I said Jake would score. And I said Jed would score. So the only goal I missed was Jed, who didn't score. But I got the 3 other Millwall players to score.
Are we going to let you take the own goal? I mean, it's not like you predicted the own goal, but I suppose...
Did you?
I told you, Jake, listen, I said Jake scores every game. Yeah. You took the piss and made a joke about, what do you mean? Is he going to score an own goal? In fact, I think if we listen back, I think it was Kai what said, what you're saying, he's going to score an own goal. And I went, well, hopefully not. But he did actually score an own goal. So, hey-ho. That's, what's that, 2-3 this season now?
I think that's 2, I think.
That's 5 in 9 games as well, if you can.
I think, no, I don't really have much else to add to the first half, but I will try and stick to the second half if you let me, because you mentioned, obviously, Bradshaw getting his 100th goal in his career.
Yeah.
It was also Phobie's 100th goal in his career, which is a weird quirk for both of yourself forwards to get to 100 the Century Club in the same game, I thought, which was quite interesting. But I'll let you ask about the second half if you want, mate.
No, yeah, let's move on to the second game. And an interesting fact for you: Phobie scored his 100th goal as well.
Did he?
Yeah. Just wonder. I wonder how many times that's been done before. So anyone listening who's a stat man, or these guys are going to be Kai. I can already see Kai looking at Google already. He won't be using Yahoo because it's down, so he'll be Googling this already. But I wonder how many other players or matches that's done. You can see both of them now. If you're watching this on YouTube or recast, you can see Kai and Omar both on it.
I've just typed Castle.
I already checked it, but what I was going to say was, who do you think got there first out of the two of them, like out of the statistics wise?
I reckon it's Bradshaw.
I think it's a Phobie. Just Bradshaw done it in 389 games. And Kai, you're saying it's not his 100th goal, but if I was to refer you to his Instagram account, Fenica Phobie,
I know he said that, but I don't think Bradshaw's was his 100th league goal. But I don't think it was.
I've just seen figure. I see what you're saying.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Because we were speaking about it after the game, because when they said to us that it was a 100th goal, I think Rich did an article in the week that said 98, and then he was 2 to go or something, and then he wanted 2 before the end of the season. But they said it's 100th in all competitions, whereas Bradshaw's 100th in leagues.
Oh, I've just seen now that we have a group chat while we do this show that we can communicate. I've just seen that Kai's the one who said it was his 100th when actually it wasn't his 100th. So I do have to set it correct that it's possibly 100 across all career goals rather than 100 across the league goals like Brad has scored at 100. So yeah, thanks for that, football guru. You're fucking bollocks.
Bill Stato.
Yeah, that's it. And also Omar for leading me down a path pretending it was his fucking fact because I didn't see that. So So yeah,
I'm referring to Benicophobe's Instagram when he said the pair of them got to 100 goals. So there you go. That's what I was looking at. Yeah.
we'll go there. So second half, Dan, what's your standout views of the second half?
It's difficult, really, because
Don't say it's a game of two halves.
Well, it is a game of two halves.
Yeah.
It's difficult to take anything away. I think for me, when we go ahead not once but twice in the same game, such a big game, it's so difficult to take anything away other than the fact that we've not seen it out. Especially as I think recently we've been getting back to our best defensively. That was such a poor goal to give away from a set piece. It's disappointing, and no one will be more disappointed than the players, to be fair, because Luton's a tough place to go, especially at the minute. They're absolutely rolling, they're flying. And it just undid, there was a lot of grit in that second half. And one moment, not mad, one sloppy moment has kind of undone it, really, which is a shame. But, I think overall, if you're looking at the game overall, I think it's hard to have many complaints with the performance.
Bingo! He's on mute. For God's sake, Vicky.
I could have edited all that out. Apart from now, I'm not going to do that.
You still can. You still can if you want to.
Yeah, I still can. Yeah. Apart from one of you cunts will say something in a minute. So yeah, when we get to the end. So yeah, I also think that it was a good away game on Saturday. It looked buzzing. The crowd looked buzzing. A lot of social media activity. People, all happy. Allegedly, loads and loads of people with bruises and jumping around, and probably COVID and everything else from the stand. So
no idea what COVID is. That's not important. But I was going to say I can testify to good limbs for the
until he
goal.
tests positive. Then he'll be like,
I can testify for the bruises and the cuts on my knees for the second goal. I fell forward 2 rows, and I'll tell you what, that was probably the limbs of the season, and that was the disappointing thing. Because it was a great goal, and I said it a lot in the pre-game and during the international break. To have options from the bench, the manager referred to it a lot. Brings on Burke, and he stretches the team. He gets play through. I think it was Jed gets it down. Maybe I'm going to say, threads it through to him, and he's obviously down the left hand side, cuts it back on his weaker foot on a plomb for a Phobie, who makes the finish look so easy. And I think we've seen it in the past with previous falls we've had, maybe a Phobie's guilty of it himself at times, but for that, if it is his 100th goal, we're not going to sure which one it is at this point. It was a finish. It was a real good finish. And then, the scenes that followed were unbelievable. I think my dog agrees too.
I think when he come on, it was funny because if you watch social media and everything else, which obviously, I like seeing some of the comments through the game and whatnot, and everyone was slagging a Phobie off left, right, centre. He's dog shit. What the fuck has he done? Blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden he just pulls it out of the bag. Realistically, he was there right time. That was a quick ball in, money on it, bang, straight in the 2-1 up. That was it. It was all, as far as I was led to believe, that was it. It was all over. Your views on that, Dan?
Yeah, like I said, especially since we've kind of looked back to ourselves in terms of defensively, when that went in, I'll be honest, I thought that was it. And it's a shame because, like you say, it's such a difficult finish. Like when you watch that goal back, obviously it's a cracking cracking ball from Burke. But to take that first time, get it where he did, it deserved to win the match. And it's a shame that we've kind of shot ourselves in the foot, really, because we were guilty of doing that a lot earlier in the season, I think. And it's something that we've stamped out recently, and it's come back to haunt us at possibly one of the most crucial matches in the season, which is a bit of a downer.
I do agree with that. I think that, we drop our heads to a degree and we fucking lose concentration and we lose a lead and whatnot. But I think the more positive side of it is we got 3 players back from injury who are all on fucking form. Do you know what I mean? We had Bradders straight in, score. You got Burke straight in and looks proper keen. Afobe, back on form now with his strike partner. It looks as if going into this end part of the season, potentially things could be could fall in place. I do think it'll probably go down to the last game of the season because there seems to be a lot of goal, a lot of game in hands around and everything else. But hey ho, I think that will be in the lap of the gods. I think the reason we probably had shit refs is because the FA's fucking worried like fuck that we're going to make the Premiership. And we'll go from there. But yeah, Kai, final thoughts on that second half goal, thinking that we've won it?
Oh, absolutely. I thought we'd won it. The scenes that followed were superb. I completely forgot after the game. I can't remember who said to me. Someone said, "Oh, did you film it?" I said, "No. I was just focusing on seeing the celebrations. I didn't care." But you said about how you have bruises. I didn't have bruises. I had cramp. How squashed I was, but I was okay. I took me to the train station to stretch it out. It was ridiculous, but it's so tight in there. But no, it was a great goal, great finish. Bennett, 7-8. He's just killing himself. Look. Making me laugh.
It's just Omar's talking about bruises and falling down 2 fucking aisles, and you're talking about having to stretch a cramp out on the way back to the station. I mean, while we're talking about the station, fuck me, did you enjoy your guided tour of Luton on the way back? Because they do love a kettle at Luton.
Do you know what? Like sorry, you press journos don't really get involved in that sort of stuff. So, but no, what I will say is on the train on the way up from London Bridge, that I was not apprehensive, like because I don't really care escorts. I don't mind being in them for like a little sing song or whatever. You told me wrapped up in them and takes you 45 minutes to do a 10-minute walk. On the way to the ground, I was thinking we're going to get wrapped up outside the station and it's going to take us left, right away, kind of Tottenham-esque escort, if anyone wants to refer back to that one, for example. But then the police just let us free roam and I was like, cool, perfect. The old bill actually on point here. I even remember getting to the ground going, fair play to them. They just let us walk in, no problems. Yeah, exactly. And because I was adamant I was adamant on the way up there, going to think to myself, like, they're going to wrap us up and then be held. It's 2:00 was getting there. So, like, I'm adamant they're going to definitely wrap us up from the station. Train full of Millwall fans from London Bridge. It was the opposite. And I was like, fair play. There's no aggro or anything either. And then post game, yeah, of course, then they kept us up, like you say, and yeah, basically got the tour of Luton, and yeah, that's reaffirmed to me what a shit hole is. Which it was quite funny. A few times they tried to take us down one way, and naively, a lot of Mill fans went the other way. So it's a bit of game of cat and mouse a couple of times, but yeah, it's part and parcel of following Millwall when you go to places like Luton, I suppose. But just a scenic route of them, isn't it? What can I say? I have seen Luton in ways that no one can imagine.
And was it enjoyable?
No. It's a shithole.
No, that's it. So we're going to draw that part to a close. This was the first part of the show where we discussed the shithole that is formerly or is actively known as Luton. Hopefully they go to the Prem if we don't, and then we don't have to fucking go there again. Or next season they just drop right down and then fuck off, so we don't have to play them again anyway. But yeah, old-fashioned team, old-fashioned ground. I think those sort of clubs need to stay in the league, to be fair. They are good old-fashioned away grounds. But again, those sort of games, you'll always get kettled at some point, either on the way there or on the way back. But hey-ho, it is what it is. We're gonna have a brief break here, and we will be back straight after this, where we'll be talking everything to do with Swansea. See you in a minute. Welcome back to part 2. This is where we're going to talk everything about Swansea coming to town on Tuesday night. Swansea's had a run-in to this game. They've had a win, 2 losses, a win, a draw, and they had a nice big win of 4-0 against Steve Morrison's team, Cardiff, at the weekend. And they're coming into us, and we've obviously had a win, 2 draws, a win, and a lose. And a draw, obviously, against Luton. So it's going to be a fairly tight game, I'd say, before their win against Coventry, against Cardiff even. Let me fucking get the countries right, or the places right. I would have said that, I wouldn't have been that worried, but all of a sudden their form, scoring 4 against, and not too bad Cardiff side, I'd be a bit worried. So we'll start with you then, Dan. Your thoughts on Swansea at Millwall tomorrow night or tonight?
Yeah, like you say, it's difficult to know what to expect because Swansea are a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team. Like you say, they banged 4 past Cardiff, and I don't think they've been. I know they've been on the receiving end of a couple of spankings themselves, but they do seem to have goals the majority of their games. So it'd be interesting to see because that hasn't always been the case for us this season. I feel like that again is something that's changed recently, but I think with our home form, especially after not losing at Luton, it's still right there for the taking. So it should be a really, really good game. We should be bang up for it. I'd be surprised if there's much changed from the Luton game. I think, like one of you mentioned earlier, having those options on the bench to come on and change the game if it's not going to plan that 60, 70 minute mark. To be honest, I can't remember the last time I've been to a Millwall game or looked at a Millwall bench and I've seen 2 or 3 options that I think, right, yeah, on the hour, he could come on and win it. He could come on and win it. So I'd be tempted personally not to change it off the back of another good performance, and I don't think he will. But I think aside from that sloppy goal that we gave away at Luton, I think, we should be able to hold them out, and we've got options to go and win games. So, the table doesn't lie. They're not in a brilliant position. I think it's there for us.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. The bookies are giving odds of 23-20 for Millwall to win and 13-5 for Swansea to win. So, bookies seem to be favouring us to win. Kai, your thoughts?
Basically, well,
Nearly, you nearly
did. Nearly, very close. No, I was going to say that when a team beats another team like 4-0, doesn't really worry me because you always think that they could get complacent. They could, think that they're better than they are, and then they get brought back down to earth. Tends to be they get brought back down to earth with like a 1-0 or a 2-0 loss or something. So I think we'll beat Swansea on Tuesday night or tonight, and I think it's going to be. Dan said I'd go unchanged. Ollie Burke and Ojo on the bench, so bring them on. And I reckon Bradshaw will score. And I'll go to predictions in a minute, but I reckon Bradshaw is good value for another goal.
Come on in, Omar. Give us your thoughts on Swansea coming to town.
I echo exactly what the boy said there. Really, I think.
Thanks very much. Right, we move. Oh.
It's a game that's there for us to take. If I think the players are certainly up for it, because I think Saturday, even though it's disappointing not to get over the line in the end, I think it definitely shows that the players want to grab this opportunity by both hands and try and just at least give it a good go between now and the end of the season. And I think that's what's going to fall into our favour, I hope, for the game. I mean, Swansea, I think they're a side that's just getting ready for next season, and they look like they're coming on a lot under Russell Mine. Obviously, he had MK Don singing a tune in League One last year. And obviously got the job, and a lot of people were quite surprised by it in the summer. I think he came in late, obviously, because Cooper left Swansea, didn't he? And quite late doors in the pre-season window. But I do think they're probably giving up more towards next season, and their form has been quite patchy, like you said, but they do look like they're edging towards the right way. So, it's a bit of a dead rubber for them, and fingers crossed because of that, we'll be more up for it and just kind of, take the game to them and hopefully get over the line. And I think I'll give the guys maybe an unchanged 11 wouldn't surprise me. I think it's good to have the options though, especially when you've got Easter coming up and obviously have a game Friday, Monday, and it's starting to ramp up a bit. So could even be a game for the likes of Shea Ojo to come in, just throw a little bit of curveball in there or something, because I think he'll be a sort of player that looks quite eager to come in and impress as well. So we'll have to wait and see. I think unchanged 11 would be the right decision, but wouldn't be surprised to see 1 or 2 changes to 11.
Jake's on 9 yellow cards. Is there still punishment for getting 10?
I think the amnesty went last week, I think. But
okay.
I think Dan was going to say something as well. What would you say, Dan?
Yeah, just to touch on what you was going to say, like obviously the players, the players will be up for every game. But I wonder, I know we've gone close pretty much every season since Gary's come in. But what I'd stress is, and this is a weird thing to stress because we don't tend to do well against the Barnsleys at home. But if I'm a player in that dressing room and I'm looking at our run-in and I'm looking at some of the other teams' run-ins, other than Bournemouth on the last game, you can ask for a better run-in. I'm not saying it's now or never, but not to say we won't be up there challenging again next year if we don't make it this year. But I think if you were to ask for an opportunity and a run-in on paper for the last 8-7 games at the start of the season, I don't think you could put one together better yourself. So hopefully that element will be there as well, because what I would say is if we don't win against Swansea, then other people will pick up points. And I know people will take points off each other, but I think realistically, we need 6 points after not beating Luton. 7 points out of 9, I think is still a good return. And I think that point at Luton is a good one, but only if we back it up against Swansea. And then, in my opinion, the real test is backing it up against Barnsley. Because I remember last year, I think we had Barnsley at home for a 9-point week, and we just couldn't get the job done. From what I remember, I think we went 1-0 down, and then we came back to 1-1. He just couldn't find the second goal in the second half. But it's a massive, massive opportunity, and I don't think that'll be lost on the players at the minute.
Was that Barnsley game after the Preston win up there? And then we had, because we had the COVID with the management, didn't we? And then we had the Preston game up there, and obviously we was like buoyant after that. And then I think we had them back down the Den. Barnsley.
And that was Huddersfield we had back down the Den after that. We lost
was this?
I think it was after the Wycombe game. So I think I did them both, because that's a game where Bart had that nightmare.
September, I think it was.
That was it. And then we won quite comfortably in the end. And then I remember everyone was getting quite excited. And, so you always get sucked in, didn't you? Like I was sitting there as well. I was probably 2-3-0. And then it was just typical. It couldn't be a more Millwall at home v Barnsley game if you tried.
I think you're right, though, because I think it is. And that's all what I was kind of thinking. I was thinking a lot of it pre-game on Saturday because I wasn't sure what we were going to see. And then once I saw the performance after the game, even though we didn't get over the line, I felt like to myself, I'm happy with what I saw from the players. It's not so much what the manager can do at this point. It's all on the players now to think, if you do well in these next 7 games now, you could be within a chance of being a Premier League footballer next year. And I think that's ultimately what the players should and hopefully will be thinking. Like, when are you going to get better opportunities for some of these players? Like, obviously, we went close a couple of years ago, QPR, without fans there, and got turned over, was it 4-3 in the end? But I do think, you've got 7 games to go, 4 of them at home, where if you win 4 of them games, you probably need 1 win away from home in the next 3. There's no reason why not to be excited for it. And just, I know I'm just saying these home games are the given and we'll probably end up losing. Now I'm saying this now, but I just think you've got a good opportunity, and I agree with you there, Dan. What's the harm in just thinking, here you go, fancy yourselves here and just give it a good go, really, because that's all we want as fans to see as well.
I think that we've got quite a good run as well. I think the teams we've got left are fairly all beatable. But we just need to turn up. And again, I think coming to this part of the season with the players we've got coming back onto the bench, I think that if there is ever a chance where things are looking in our advantage, this season could well be it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, you think we've got Barnsley at home, we've got Preston away, we've got Hull at home, Birmingham away, Peterborough at home, and then Bournemouth away. And
let's be honest, there's no givens. There is no givens, but I think for the players, you just got to think you've got to expect that, or hope at least that the players think, "Cool, this is a real good opportunity now," and that's ultimately, I think,
Birmingham is going to want to win, isn't he? Because of Gary's previous and whatnot. Birmingham is going to want to win,
and Bowyer's there, isn't he?
Yeah, so Birmingham is going to want to win. Bournemouth, if Bournemouth have won the title by that day, they really got nothing to play for. They're going to want to save themselves, or they're just not going to really be going all out. So potentially there. Peterborough, we owe them. So, realistically, a couple of games there, what will be battles. Preston, maybe. Barnsley is always a bit of a bogey team for us.
Yeah.
I think 10 games ago, I never would have thought that it was there for us. And I still don't think it's there for us now. But I now think I've seen us win 5 on the bounce. And I know we can do it. And I think the players have got to hopefully feel the same way. And like I said, I think having Bert come on Saturday and get that assist is quite big as well. It proves that the players are coming in back from their injuries and they're eager to impress. And I think that's what's going to be hopefully the difference maker for us. I can see us, having that game against Preston on the Friday, and then coming back to the den against Hull, making a few changes, but still bringing top quality players in, and hopefully everyone stays fit between now and the end of the season, and then you've got the chance of changing things up and hopefully having an advantage against these sort of teams and going out there and winning them.
And
On
also, I
paper,
think
this is the easy bit because you've got someone like Ollie Burke you can bring on. We've done the hard bit. We won 5 on the bounce where, with no disrespect, I'm sure they're very, very promising lads. But when you've got a 16-year-old coming on up front and you've got academy kids, you can't really go and ask them to go and change a game. Whereas now we've banked them points. You've got this last 7-game run and you've got options like Burke, Ojo. Compare this running now with what we had last year, the last couple of years, and more importantly, the options we had off the bench, like, Zahore, and just off the top of my head, the first one, you wouldn't fancy bringing him on or someone of that ilk at the minute in the running. So it just feels like not the stars have aligned, but it feels like there's something there because like Omar said, the last time I was on, I remember we'd had a couple of good results and someone was saying about playoffs and I wasn't having it. But after 5 on the bounce and it's just open season, it is there. I think potentially getting it is another thing altogether, but it's definitely there.
I think we all feel the same. That is it though. It's like we know we know we're not likely to do it. However, if it does happen, it could happen. Do you know what I mean? Like, it sounds really weird to say that way, but it is there for us if the players want it enough, and I think they do. I really do think they do.
I think you're right. I think as I said before in the first half, it's our destiny. We're in charge of our own destiny. The only people that are going to fuck this up is us. And if we want it bad enough, we will. And don't forget, 87, 88, 7 games left. I think we won 6 of them and lost the 7th. Or we had 8 games left, I think. And we won 7 and lost the last game and went up. So, can we get into the playoffs and then fucking go all out and get in? I mean,
I think if you take Stoke and Blackburn away from the conundrum as well, we look like scoring goals. The Stoke game was a bit of a flat day, it has to be said. And obviously Jed didn't score his penalty. The Blackburn game, we were right off. So 0 XG, first time in 5 years, whatever club's done that. But aside from them games, we've looked like we're going to score. And I think Bradshaw coming back into it too. I don't know. I'm getting carried away now. I personally think, my honest prediction is I still think it will miss out on the last day of the season. But to get to the last day of the season, if we get there, I'll be happy with that. And then who knows what can happen then. That's ultimately what I think on it.
Yeah, I think you're right. So then let's start to finish this by going round and doing the score predictions. And you're starting 11. So Kai, we will start with you.
So I'll go unchanged.
You're on mute.
I'm not. He's scary. I was checking. I was like, no, I'm not. Oh my god! I go unchanged. I go obviously same wing backs, Malone and Danny McNamara. I think Leonard should be back on the bench, which would be good. But before I go for prediction, Murray Wallace, that was the 5th game in a row that he's done a Cruyff turn successfully. It's unreal. Like, imagine if you bet on that, how much money that would have made you 5 games in a row.
I think anyone would have took the bet.
No, I don't think so. But, you would have done. You've been looking pretty happy now, wouldn't you? But I'll go for 1-0 Benicophobe.
Okay. Dan?
Yeah, I'd go unchanged as well. Like I've just said, you get sucked in every time, don't you? So I've got to say we're going to win, really. I think it'll be a 2-0, 2-1. Like I said, like their games do seem to have, other than the odd anomaly, they do seem to have goals in their games and not necessarily all for them. So, I think they'll be bang up for it after coming so close against Luton. And yeah, I think we'll get the job done. And then it all goes into the big one on Saturday against Barnsley.
Okay. Omar?
I'm going to share Kai's prediction and go 1-0. I'm going to say Jed Wallace is going to score a long overdue free kick, though. And he's going to carry us over the line in a game we need him most. I think, I'll go unchanged as well. but I won't be surprised if there was a change or two. But I think the players that played on Saturday done enough to keep the shirt.
I think the same starting 11, and I'm now going to name half the squad who will score and see where we go from there. No, I think Bradders and Afobe. I think we'll probably win 2-0, and I think Bradders and Afobe, they seem to, still be connected. And yeah, I think potentially we're going to win this 2-0. And we always like a game under the lights at the Den. And yeah, that's my thoughts. So yeah, anything you oh yeah, I suppose we talked about it. End of season dinner has been announced. There seems to be a bitch fight, a love fest, whichever way you want to look at it. There seems to be some form of disagreement, smoke and mirrors, PR tricks, whatever way you want to look at it. The MSC isn't happy that the club's gone out and put prices out that it's £130 a person, £900 a table with 2 players for 8 people. And I sort of agree with them that I think you're outpricing Millwall fans. I think it's very, very corporate. The fact that it's a black tie event when it used to be just lounge suits, and it's 3 days before potentially our most important game of the season. I mean, what's your views on the end of season then, Omar?
Yeah,
Dinner.
I mean, there's a couple things. Obviously, I think a lot of people online have picked up on it, so I'm just sharing basically what everyone said already about that previous. But obviously, normally there's a presentation at the Den for the Player of the Year, normally at the Den. And as it stands, it will be, I think, obviously, just before the end of the season and the last game being away from home, we won't be able to give the award on the pitch, and the fans won't be able to.
It hasn't been on the pitch for years.
I disagree. I've definitely seen Bart Bielkowski take his first award.
I remember it was
last.
COVID, I think it was.
Yeah, he was definitely. I think so. Obviously, the last couple of years, it hasn't been.
I think it might have done because of COVID, because they didn't have end of season dinners for the COVID. So
they've always done. They've always done because they would make a thing about it. 15 minutes before the end of the game. Well, maybe the dinner, but I'm saying like after the game, there will be like at least a home game afterwards. So there was always something going on.
Like the Junior Lions player.
Yeah, and then, even I think they didn't even get John Berylson on to give the award to the player. It's first, second, and third. It's always been a thing for as long as I can remember. That was one thing, but also it being a black tie event's quite interesting at the Den. I mean, how fancy do you want to go with Millwall fans? Anyone got a black tie suit ready to go?
It just it sort of just smells a bit like the fucking Portugal's bollocks all over again. Outpriced the fans would travel up and down the country to watch you week in, week out and give you money they can't necessarily afford, and then just open up all the perks to the fans what you think can afford it. It leaves a bitter taste. But hey-ho, I have faith in the mighty MSC and their negotiation skills, and I reckon any day now we'll have an announcement from the club taking a back step and saying, after talking with the MSC and understanding the points of the views of the fans, we are either going to reduce or do something. Maybe that's because I'm a cynical old cunt, but still, hey-ho. I think we're pretty much reached the end of this. But as you know me, I could probably talk for a year and a half about the MSC and shit. So it is what it is. So we'll stop there rather than me coming across as a bitter old cunt. Kai, have you got anything you want to say before we go in? Does anyone need to watch out for Yahoo? Is Yahoo back up? It's back up.
It's back.
So yeah, uses Yahoo. I'm sorry.
What's that?
He still uses Yahoo.
Do you know the bad thing is, yeah, that I can understand using Yahoo if you're my age, but he's 18.
Yeah,
right?
I'm expecting to say next he's going to be on Ask Jeeves in a minute doing his little searches online. Remember Ask Jeeves?
Jeeves recommended Yahoo.
Yeah.
What do you guys use then?
I'm on Gmail personally, if anyone really cares. But yeah,
yeah. I'm on Gmail and Proton Mail.
Gmail.
There you go, Kai. Take notes.
So yeah. You got anything you want to say, Dan, before going?
No, that's all from me. Cheers, boys.
Hopefully you're coming back on Thursday, I think, aren't you? After Swansea. so
As
we
long as I
can
get the
pull you
green
apart
light.
on your suggestions.
As long as I get the green light from the general, yeah, I'll be back.
The general is his wife, obviously. So, yeah, his missus. Omar, anything you want to end with?
No, happy to have gone to Luton once. I don't plan to go there again.
There we go. So, yeah, hey ho. That's it from us. You know what to do. We are across social media. You can follow us. It's an easy address. We are called That Millwall Pod across Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. You can find us under that name on TikTok, on Telegram too. We have got, if you look in our profiles across those accounts, we have got a Telegram channel, what we are testing at the moment, which is sending all the news of Millwall to that channel. So anything from other podcasts, other YouTube channels, all the papers, anything what picks up on a Millwall story and publishes, hopefully the robot we've got picks it up and posts it to that group. It's free to join, have a look, see what you think. It is testing. It will be up and running properly next year. But if you want to help us out by testing and letting us know if anything else needs to be added, then please do so. And again, if you want to get involved in the show like Chris and Joe did on the round table the other week, it's really easy. Just DM us and we'll have a chat and see where we go from there. Thanks very much. Please subscribe. Please follow. Please just keep listening. And that's it for another week. And we'll be back on Thursday. So see you then. Thanks very much. Adios, amigo.